Alright, everybody, welcome to another installment of Spark and Bear. HeshamUchiha just showed me a very interesting video about, what was really the subject of the video. I can't really.
It was basically about the truth about Sony. Just like
Mm,
when people think about Sony, they think about these underdogs that aren't part of gaming. That would this like electronics company that like comes into gaming does in a big way, but like the truth of it is really they were more or less lucky, really. Like I said, we were basing this on a video, so it'll be in the description, obviously. So you should watch that first.
yeah,
Watching this.
I recommend watching the video first too, and then watch this one and you'll see what we mean. Uh,
Yeah, I like his other videos as well because he's the Game Overthinker. He's pretty awesome.
he overthinks games. Anyways, I pretty much agreed 100% what he said in the video. Not because that I'm a fan of Nintendo. He also mentions that Nintendo did their really big dick move in there by
Oh yeah,
humiliating Sony like they did, which I do think that was a huge, just a dick move by
still
Nintendo.
kind of that happened though because
Yeah, but that was a long
they
time
pretty
ago. I'm
much
pretty.
left him out in the cold.
Say that again.
They pretty much left him out in the cold. That's the thing. It's kind of like Peter Molyneux, the guy who's the Lionhead Studios guy, the guy behind Fable and whatnot. I think he's the main push for Natal. So it'd be kind of like if Peter Molyneux came out and said Natal is amazing, or not Natal, sorry, Connect or whatever. Like it's amazing, blah blah blah. Then Microsoft, in their like press conference, go, oh by the way, we're scrapping Connect. We're gonna make like a whole new console. Like that's kind of what it was like, and it, I'm not saying it doesn't seem like Nintendo, just it doesn't seem like a very good business move, and it seems a bit like I don't know.
Yeah,
It's really funny.
but then what? Everybody knows what came out of that. What came out of that was the PlayStation,
Yeah,
and what pretty much came out of that was the PlayStation, and and at that time when the PlayStation came out, what else came out? The 64 did came
yeah, the thing
in
or the
competition
Saturn.
with the PlayStation. And that decreased Nintendo a lot. And what the Game Overthinker says is that um uh, is that Sony didn't have that much of a competition.
Yeah, pretty much because Nintendo kind of we're not saying none of us are saying the N64 was a bad console. It's a flipping amazing console. Lilac Wars, which is Star Fox 64, Super Smash Brothers, Legend of the Ocarina of Time. But the thing that they did was that because they chose cartridges over CDs, they lost a lot of third-party support as well as they lost loads of franchises. Like for example, they lost the Final Fantasy franchise, which is a big franchise, and Final Fantasy VII was originally supposed to be designed for the N64. I mean, if you go back and look, there are screenshots as well as I think there's a little video for Final Fantasy VI characters in the Final Fantasy VII engine on the N64. Now, there were several games they missed out on due to the fact that cartridges were really expensive to make. They didn't have as much space as a CD, so a lot of companies kind of went on board onto Sony with that one.
Yeah, and things got even worse for Nintendo when you moved into the next generation with the with the Xbox, the GameCube, and the PS2. Uh, Everybody knows that the GameCube wasn't that successful. It just wasn't.
It was a good console once again, but like I said,
Mm,
due to their format that they used, which was the little mini CDs,
hmm
it was very hard to develop for, which is kind of what Sony are doing now with their Blu-ray. So it was really hard to make games for it. So not many people. Not to mention the fact as well. I remember when before the GameCube was even like released, when they announced it, Shigeru Miyamoto as well as most of the people at Nintendo said that they like to think that they're more of a family-oriented sort of everybody's game. Every kind of games on here. But the thing is that they didn't want any mature-rated games on there. So a lot of games like GTA and Manhunt and loads of other more mature games which are on the PS2 and the Xbox weren't able to get onto the GameCube. So they didn't have that third party support that they had back in their Super Nintendo.
They also talked a little bit about the Xbox, how pretty much just one game kind of gave big competition to the PS2, and that's Halo, of course.
Yeah, pretty. But the thing
Well,
is, like you said, so on that same sentence, is that you couldn't sell an Xbox, and you still can't sell an Xbox, whether it be an original or a 360 in Japan, due to the fact that the game lineup isn't anything that suits Japanese tastes. They don't have those killer RPGs. They don't have those fighting games. Mostly, it just seems to be, shooter after shooter.
shooter after shooter. But it
Yeah,
does. But despite the low sales in Japan, the 360 is still over the PS3. Despite that,
actually, yes.
uh,
It-
it just shows you that it seems like more people play games in the states. Here
I
over here
think yeah,
stateside.
it's the only console really to show you can have dominance as well as sell well overall just by showing dominance in one in one particular region.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't say that. Just we play more games than anywhere else. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe it's just that we play more shooters than anybody else.
It's the UK as well as America. Mostly America though, from
Yeah.
what I understand. Most
But
people over here actually
if you guys
play
ever
different.
seen the sales of the 360 in Japan, they're completely they're atrocious. They're terrible.
They're not.
They really don't care about the 360 whatsoever. Mainly, is it because it's American made console? Maybe, but they
It's
don't care
mostly
about it.
because number one, it's American made console.
Mm.
Another thing, the game's on appeal, and I think as well is I think also the subscription as well, because if you look at Japanese, they play a lot of MMORPGs, but they play free ones. They don't play they don't play the World of Warcrafts and stuff like that with the subscription. They prefer the free ones.
Yeah.
That's probably another extra thing that's added on there. But yeah,
But now he moves into this generation, which was kind of and also along all these generations, he also talks about the handhelds, which Nintendo has always dominated.
oh
Nobody's
yeah, now
nobody's always any nobody's anywhere gotten close. I mean, I say
like
the PSP is the closest thing, and they're still getting their asses whooped.
that's true.
So
Like, fair, I only knew like two people that had a Game Gear growing up. I only knew two people that had a Game Gear, the Sega Game Gear. I only knew like one person that had like a Neo Geo Pocket. So, that goes to show you that Nintendo always has dominance over the handheld market.
my my sister had a Sega Game Gear. I liked it.
Really,
It had
it
a
ain't battery like a bastard though,
it had yeah, it did. It had a probably because of the illuminated screen. It was one of the first handhelds to have an illuminated screen,
and it was colored as well.
and it was color too. I mean,
Yep.
all the competition that came against the Game Boy were good Well, I wouldn't say good competition, but
The Linux wasn't that great from what I've seen because number
it
one that
I would say they were better. They're
yeah.
as in technology standards, they were better, higher tech, and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
Uh,
They had
and
color and everything, most of them, but like black and white
but
Game
these
Boy,
things have to catch on. They're not popular. They weren't popular at all. I mean, if you want, and they barely had any games, man. Just a few games every now and then.
What most Game Gear games though were just remade Master System games anyway.
But
Yeah.
there are barely any games for them, and that's all that matters when when you want to get something. Whatever has the most games, you usually get that. Uh, but now moving on back into the video.
Yeah.
He's in today's generation now, and
Yeah.
he's talking about how the Wii is dominating, and the 360 is just there, and PS3 all of a
360 doing it.
sudden the PS3 has just a terrible launch. I mean, this is something that no fanboy can deny. The PS3 had a bad launch. It had a terrible launch. Uh, no games going for it. Uh, the
There was only a few decent games, but the thing is though, one game sticks out in everyone's mind, and that is Lair with its terrible controls and freaking six-axis controls. It was horrible, and what it promised. So
but there are things from the PS3 that you can't deny that he mentioned in the video. The power was undeniable. the the superior